Paul over at the Diecast Graveyard YouTube channel invited the community to join him in the super huge Ginormous build-off. The first round of which is to do a build for your favorite band. So what I'm about to do to this number 47 Commer Ice Cream Canteen, I'm sure some of you will find very disturbing. Heck, even I find it a little disturbing, and that's saying a lot. But some of you may recall a while back, the American Pickers discovered the first van used by Aerosmith to get around from concert to concert. They were real small back then. This was when nobody knew who Aerosmith was. And they hadn't come up with their current logo yet. I guess that drawing on the side of the van is actually the guy who owned the van. It's funny. And if you haven't seen the story, you have to go and watch that American Pickers video. I think it was actually across a couple videos, because the van, they kind of refurbished. I mean, they stabilized it. They didn't improve the look. They kept the wear and everything. But I guess it was on display at Aerosmith's residency in Las Vegas. So that's what I'm trying to kind of recreate here using this poor little ice cream canteen truck. It's the closest thing I had to that van. And it's going to look beat to hell when I'm done. I love it because it involves, JB Weld. Because I have to seal up all those holes. The holes on both sides and the roof. So here you're going to see me do the three sides. The top and the two sides. And I work my way around it, mixing up JB Weld, letting one side set up and cure overnight, and then going to the top and, working my way around it. But this isn't a pretty build. This is going to be ugly when it's done. So even though this is a contest, a competition that Paul is hosting, I already know this one stands a snowball's chance in hell of doing well. But that's not the point of this for me. I just want to have fun. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the other events in this competition are going to be and how weirdly I can do them. So I've wanted to do this build actually ever since I saw that episode of American Pickers. Ever since I saw that van, I thought, man, that'd be kind of cool to try and recreate. And I never got around to it. And then Paul announced, the super huge, ginormous build off. And when he said it was bands for the first one, I thought, okay, this is finally the motivation I need to finally get me going on this build. So that's the direction this goes. And fortunately, I have more than just this one of this casting. So, I really don't care what I do to some of these castings, and I'm sure that, I'm in them all on the cheap, and, I don't feel too badly about anything I've ever done to these things. But sometimes I'll get comments like, oh my God, how could you do that to that casting? And it's like, well, my casting, my rules. And trust me, I don't feel bad about it at all. So I finally, I finally get all the sides done on this thing. And I don't sand it super smooth or anything like that, because that's not what I want. This thing needs to look beat to hell. And to be honest, I think the end result maybe isn't beat to hell enough. I did sand a couple high spots down and stuff, but nothing too fancy. I don't super smooth it out. There are a few little spots, like this one. There was a spot on the side of this thing in the casting, this little round spot that stuck out for no real reason. So I got rid of that and, did stuff like that. But I wanted it to be crappy. I hit it with flat dark green Model Master paint. And then the polyurethane, at first I went over it with a gloss clear because I wanted to put these decals on a gloss base. And so what I decided to do on the real van, there's actually a window on this side of the van. And I did not want to try and recreate a window. So I just put that side flat as well. I thought about using the same design on both sides. And I thought, I'm going to use the current Aerosmith logo on one side and use that old image on the other side as it originally was. I did have to create a custom decal for this, obviously. There aren't a whole lot of old Aerosmith van decal sets out there. They're white toner decals, so they're two-part the way I do them. There's a white base decal that I put down on both sides, and that's what you saw on the other side of this at first was just the white. And here's the white on this side. So that's the first step when I do these. And then what I do after I get this kind of situated where I want it. You have to be really careful when you put down the white one, the base, because that's going to determine the final landing spot for the colors as well. I ended up going just a yellow for this side. I didn't want anything too prominent. I didn't want super flashy, I thought about doing red, white, and blue. Decided against that. I thought it'd be too much for this side because this side, while it's a tribute in a way to their current logo, the real star of the show is this side. And so, getting this decal. And, it's kind of like an old image from the 60s, the dude with the big foot, is pointing in the air kind of thing. I remember seeing that image, and when I watched the episode, I guess this bald-haired dude on this image is actually the guy who owned the van that drove the band around. And I think they said, I can't remember which of the band members was there and verified, or I think it was might have been their first manager, that was there and verified that this was truly that van. And this bald-headed dude on this side, hair hanging back but bald on top, was like this guy who owned the van, but he was young. He was like in his 20s, as I recall, they said. And he was just going bald at an early age. But I thought that was just a funny look for this van, and you could just so see it as a logo they would have used. So once that's on there, then I throw some details on here. After I've got the details and the decals on, I do start hitting with, here's the contrast black Templar for the front grille. Think of that paint as a cross between Nuln Oil and regular black paint. It's like a heavy, thick Nuln Oil, as opposed, not thick, but just a heavier Nuln Oil. At that point, I hit it all with a flat clear, a satin clear to be specific is what it's called, of the same Minwax. And I start weathering the heck out of this. And, to be honest, I'm not thrilled with the weathering job I do on this. I'm out of practice on it. It's something I really need to work at, and I don't do it often enough. I mean, there's people who are just freaking masters of this kind of thing. I think of Chuck Ellis over at Flying Valiant. There's people that really do an amazing weathering job on stuff. And then there's me, who do a half you-know-what weathering job, but got me there. I did put windows on this using microcrystal clear. And one of the things I like on this kind of build with the microcrystal clear is the windows, they kind of have an old look to them. And I don't know else to explain it. I think you either see it or you don't. And, it's one of those things where I think some of us, probably the older ones among us, will go, oh, yeah, I remember seeing windows like that. And that's how older windows kind of look. And then the young whippersnappers are going to be, I don't have a clue what he's talking about. But that's okay, too. So I only show me doing the back windows on this. I do go all the way around. The front window is a little more tedious because it's a long pull. And you see how you do this. You kind of tilt the toothpick sideways and drag that film across. And it takes multiple tries. And you finally get there. But when you pull it across like the full width of that front window, it's tedious, and it's just something that's best done off camera, because pretty much my face is in that in that casting as I'm doing it. But that's the basic idea of how to use microcrystal clear to do windows like that. Then I had taken the wheels off earlier, as you saw. I honestly don't know why I did that. I mean, sure, it made painting at the base, and I did just like a straight Matchbox base. I did it gloss black, nothing fancy. I didn't weather it or anything, but I didn't really clean the wheels. I didn't want them to look new. I did pop the ice cream man out of that back of the van, and then I just shot it black because I don't want any of it to show. It just kind of closes off the interior. Again, on the tires, I wanted them to look weathered, and the natural wear that they had worked out really well. So while I, cleaned them from anything kind of loose on them, like any loose dirt, that was about it. I wasn't going to make them fancy or anything. I like the rough spots on the roof. I like how rough the sides are, because that's what I want. So there's that poor innocent ice cream truck. Look at the ice cream man. He looks so happy back there. Yeah, cut him off at the knees. So he's not back there anymore. Who knows? Maybe I'll use the ice cream man in a future build. But that's where it started. And here in a second, you're going to see how it ended up. Yeah, I'm sure that's not what the guys at Matchbox had in mind. Kind of looks like an old, decrepit UPS truck in a way. I think because the green is darker than the actual van itself. But this is what I had, and I thought it worked. So there you have it. Thanks, Paul, for hosting his first event, the super huge, ginormous build-off. Everybody, go check out Paul's recap video that's on his YouTube channel, Diecast Graveyard. Check out all of the other builds. It's my understanding that this is like a voting event. And so check out everything that's there. Pick your favorites and vote. I don't know how it gets chosen, like for a second, third, or what. Don't know. I'm sure there's going to be some really nice, beautiful builds there. And I'm sure there will be some quite stunning ones. And then there's going to be something like this that's stupefying. Everybody, thanks for watching this video. I hope you had as much fun with this stupid little thing as I did. And yeah, it's weird. And sometimes that's what I do. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. Have a very Merry Christmas. That's right around the corner. And I'll catch you in the next one.